Hello guys, so in today's video I'll be breaking down this pair. This is UJ starting from the monthly time frame all the way to the M15. And so without further ado, let's dive in. So exactly right here we can clearly see that price has taken out the major inducement and reversed back, making a break of structure. Exactly right there. And you know that once such a pattern has formed, or once price takes out the recently formed valid pullback and reverses back, breaking past this swing point, we all know that this one here is a valid break of structure. That is a bullish break of structure. And of course, the trading range will start from that low all the way to that high. Okay, so that's the trading range. And where is now the recently formed valid pullback, or in other words, the inducement? We can clearly see right here that this one here is the inducement, and exactly right there you can see that price retraced and took it out. Exactly right there, this was a sweep of the minor inducement. If this is the minor inducement, this means that our low or our external liquidity is our major inducement. So let me use this one here so that we can mark our swing points. I usually like using this. Okay, this is a bull swing point, and so I'll be using the color green, this one also, and also our high, our swing point here, of which now if price comes and breaks past this one here, then this one here will be a valid break of structure or a bullish break of structure. So exactly right here we can clearly see that price has swept the minor inducement and it's giving this reaction, and we can clearly see. All right, so that we can get much data, we need to shift to the weekly time frame. I can clearly see that there might be a fade of this inducement, but first let's get to the weekly so that we can get so exactly right here you can clearly see after the sweep here, after the sweep you can clearly see that price took out the, you can clearly see here, made a break of structure. This is the weekly time frame, so price made a break of structure. All right, so I'll be using this color to represent the weekly, and after the change of character you can clearly see here price took out the major inducement, then of course made a break of structure exactly right here. And so I was expecting that price will take this inducement, and mitigate this POI exactly right here. So I'll be using this blue color to represent a valid bull OB. So exactly right there, I was anticipating that price will mitigate this and head all the way, breaking past this high. But now the opposite happened. You can clearly see price broke past this low. So this here is the indication that there's a possibility that our minor inducement sweep failed. So exactly right here, you can see that this one here is the minor inducement sweep. It happened exactly right there. Price was heading to the upside very well until price made a change of character, symbolizing that now price is looking forward for the extreme POI on the monthly time frame before it can make the ultimate reversal towards the break of this external liquidity. So now with that, let's mark now the trading range. Okay, so first let me indicate this low. Yeah, you can see that the sweeping low is yet taken, but okay, I'll be using this so that we can differentiate it with this low, of which it is the new trading range after price made that change of character. Of course, this needs to be okay, so this is the weekly. This one here, let me reduce the, okay, so yeah, let it be like that. And of course now on this new trading range, which trading range am I talking about? It is this trading range, which ranges from, okay, let me extend this one here so that we can clearly see where our trading range ranges from. So our trading range ranges from this high, that high, all the way to this low, and this range is a bearish range, and we can clearly see that this one here is what we call now the extreme order flow. So price has mitigated the extreme order flow, and you can clearly see it's reversing back. So exactly right there, that's our extreme order flow. And I can clearly see our minor in a major, that is a major because it occurred after the break of structure. That's our major inducement. And yeah, exactly right there, I have marked that. Price has mitigated this, price has mitigated our our extreme order flow, and at the same time you can clearly see this rejection block. So price extended even further, mitigating this rejection block exactly right there. So uh this gives me full confidence that price now can continue all the way towards this low and eventually come all the way to mitigate that extreme PY, which will be somewhere here. So the extreme PY will be somewhere here. We'll be marking it on the daily time, I mean on the monthly time frame. Okay, so on the weekly I cannot see it clearly. Probably on the monthly will be there, but anyway that will take time for price to achieve that. We're all interested with what price is doing currently. So exactly right here, you can clearly see price has mitigated this rejection block, which is inside our extreme order flow, and price is giving this reaction. You can clearly see that price has taken out this previous candle high, and probably it's looking forward for the reversal, and probably it will break past this low. So let's see how, of course, after this mitigation, I'll be shifting to the daily time frame so that I get to see like what's happening here. Okay, so I'll be looking forward for a break of this here so that now I can confirm the, so exactly right, you can see that this here is the low that I'm waiting for price to break so that that can act as the major, I mean as the change of character, and then of course we'll be waiting for our pattern, of which is of course after the change of character it is the inducement takeout, and then finally the, yeah, of course right now I'm waiting for a pattern like this. So price to do that, to take out that low, to make the change of character, probably create a major inducement here, come for the decision of pure mitigation or the, yeah, the pure mitigation, and then eventually make this ultimate move all the way to this low right here. So that's the pattern that I'm looking forward right now. But anyway, I can clearly see something interesting here. Beside this pattern, of which it will take time for price to create, I can clearly see there is this high that was taken out exactly right here. So there is this high that price took out, and also I can clearly see that the price is heading down, probably to break past this this low here. So yeah, you can clearly see that low. So if price breaks past this low, this here will be what we call the, I mean, it will be what we call the break of structure. I mean inside our, like inside our major one. So it will not be of that importance, but at least this can give us some confirmations probably on the lower time frame. Getting back to the 4 hour, we can clearly see, of course, this here is the break of structure that I'm looking forward for on the daily time frame. But in this time frame, you can clearly see that this here was a change of character, and this here was associated with, you can clearly see this. This here is a 4 hour inducement takeout. So exactly right there, and also we can clearly see that this here is a break of structure. So exactly right there, quite a good break of structure. Price came for the for the major inducement exactly right there. So exactly I was waiting for a mitigation probably on this order flow here, but now we can clearly see that price failed it, and price made a change of character. So if price made a change of character, then this means that price is looking forward for the buy, right? But now we cannot buy, even though price is looking forward for a buy based on the internal structure. Exactly here we can clearly see that this here was our minor inducement. So this is the minor inducement. This here is the high that price is looking forward to break. So exactly right there. And also I can clearly see that this one here was our decision, no, our extreme order flow. Why am I calling this one here as the extreme order flow? Okay, so I can clearly see that this here was the extreme, of which it was mitigated exactly right there. The one that was following, it was this one here, and it was mitigated exactly right there. So the one that was unmitigated, or the one that was left unmitigated, is that one there. So right now I can do this, I can cancel this, I can cancel this, and if I am to mark the origin order block, I can clearly see that this here is the origin order block, and price is reacting from it exactly right there. So this one here is our the origin order block. The reason is why I'm not picking this one here. You can clearly see that it is mitigated exactly right there. So you can clearly see that it is mitigated. So that's the reason as to why I'm not picking this, but rather the one that is price is following. And so right here we can clearly see that price has mitigated the origin. It failed the extreme order flow, and right now people are looking for the buy, but the thing that is actually making me not to take this buy is this one here. You can clearly see that we have mitigated this area, which is of course the rejection block that it is on the weekly time frame. So this rejection block is actually the one that is making me to hesitate on taking this buy of this, this buy of this origin order block. So right now I'll be waiting for price to fail this origin order block and go all the way, breaking past this low here, so that now it can create that inducement takeout break of structure on the daily time frame. And ultimately, of course, if price will come and mitigate this rejection block, this area, then maybe I may be looking for the sell, of course, after price has mitigated. So let me use the path. So exactly right here, if price decides to come and break past this low, of course, now I'll be looking forward. If price now reverses back to our range, I'll be looking forward to sell towards breaking past this low. So now that will be making sense. For me, this is not making sense because it does not align with the higher time frame. So I'm seeing like price may come all the way or may fail this one here and come all the way to break that, but I cannot do that. The market will always do whatever it wants. So but if I am to sell, of course I'll be choosing like of course this is the high that I don't want price to break, so I'll be shifting back to the M15. So exactly right here I can clearly see this structure on the M15 very well here. After price has mitigated this extreme, price gave that reaction, as well as price here after mitigating this origin order block. I can see this is the high that I don't want price to break, so I'll be using this yep. And I can clearly see that here price has taken out what we call the major inducement and made a break of structure exactly right here. So this here is the break of structure, and of course this one here is our low, the low that I'm looking forward for price to break, because I am confidently, not that confident, but actually I am like I want price, but I'm looking forward for price to do this because we can clearly see right here. Okay, so this one here is the rejection block, and price is reacting from the rejection block. So exactly right there, of course I'll be using this yeah, of course you can clearly see that the rejection block, the extreme order block was this one here. The extreme order block was this one, not the extreme order block, but rather the extreme order flow. The reason as to why that's the extreme order flow is because we can clearly see that this one here was the one on the extreme and it was mitigated. So exactly right there, that's the invalid one, and this one is the valid one. And so this is the rejection block, and the origin order block was this one here, or that is, yeah, the origin order block. It was exactly this one. So you can clearly see that price gave a reaction from it, but then later failed it and went all the way towards the rejection block, and we can clearly see that price is now reacting from the rejection block. So right now we can clearly see, okay, by the way, if you're wondering where is the major inducement, the major inducement is down below here. I can zoom so that you can clearly see that this one here was the exactly right there. You can clearly see that that was the major inducement. So this explains the reason as to why I marked the extreme order flow there. Of course, that is also the decision because it is the one that caused the break of structure. But anyway, price didn't reverse from there. You can clearly see price failed the extreme order block and went all the way towards the rejection block, and it's now giving the reaction. So we are on the 15-minute time frame, and you can clearly see that we are heading for the sells. So probably if I am to take the sell right now here, of which it's not that, it's a low probability sell, because you can clearly see that the H4 is bullish even though the weekly is bearish up. So that gives me, so if the higher time frame holds more weight, then this means that there's a possibility that this entry can be valid. So exactly right there, and target this low as the TP1, and Okay, so if that's the TP1, then this means that the TP2 will be this low, of which I'm looking forward for price to break. So that's a 1:5, but this trade to me sounds like a risk one, because you can clearly see that the H4 is bullish, and of course the H4 is the external structure. This one here is a valid zone, and there's a possibility that price may continue higher and higher and higher. But at the same time, we can clearly see that the weekly is telling us that we are bearish. Why bearish? Because we can clearly see that price failed the minor inducement sweep on the monthly time frame after price made a change of character on the weekly. The inducement, you can clearly see we took the major inducement, and this is the rejection block, which is located inside our extreme order flow. And you can clearly see right here, if I remove these drawings, you can clearly see that price swept this high. You can clearly see exactly right there, price swept this high. So that's the previous weekly candle high. And so this means there's a possibility that price may continue lower towards breaking past this low, of which this is the low that I was targeting, like the full TP. So anyway, so you can clearly see that's the low that I was targeting the full TP. If I do like this, you can see that this is the low that I'm targeting the full TP. And if I go to the daily time frame, you can clearly see that that's the low that I'm looking forward to break. Yeah, for price to break, come to mitigate this. If I see a reaction towards this range, of course I'll be selling towards the break of this, of which it is the break that I'm looking forward for after price has mitigated the weekly rejection block. This can be clearly seen on the H4. You can clearly see right here that price took this inducement, made a break of structure, took the inducement instead of actually reacting from this area, so that now we can sell all the way breaking past this. Price decided to make that break of structure, came to mitigate this area exactly right here, of which it is the rejection block of that range, of which it was unmitigated at the moment. So you can clearly see that price took this high, and then later after taking that high, this is the H4 time frame, so then made a break of structure. And you can see that this area, of course on the lower time frame, we will be seeing a hidden POI there, or a hidden order block, and it was unmitigated at the moment. So price, this is where now we'll be checking for the reaction. So this doesn't mean that this area will push all the way, like price all the way down below here, but it's just that it is aligning with this weekly time frame, and that's the reason as to why I have the full confidence that price may continue all the way breaking past this low. But that doesn't mean that I am correct, because price can do whatever it wants. Price can decide to go all the way disrespecting this weekly time frame and all the way breaking past this high. So let's see what price does, but this is my analysis and this is my entry. So exactly right here, I'm looking forward for price to come all the way to, yeah, so exactly right here, this is my entry, exactly my stop loss there, but the safe one, of course, it will be somewhere there. But of course, placing it there, it's also a good one. So yeah, exactly right there. The TP1, of course, this low, the TP2, this low. And of course, if you're greedy enough, you can extend this all the way here. But I don't recommend, because price can actually react from this here. And that will make your position like stay long without hitting TP. Okay, so this here is the entry. Yeah, exactly right here. You can clearly see that, of course, I can shift to the 3-minute time frame, explaining why I took it on that leg. And you can clearly see that on the 3-minute time frame, exactly right here. So you can clearly see very well that price took this high. And then after that, after taking of this high, so let me use this color green. So exactly right there, we can clearly see that this one here was the inducement, of which it is the change of character now. After the change of character, price came for the inducement, mitigated this high, exactly right here. It mitigated this high. And then after that, it made a break of structure to the downside. Then again, price made inducement, exactly right here. Price took out the inducement, mitigated this extreme, exactly there, extreme order block, reversed back, breaking past this one here. So this explains as to why I took this here as my entry. So exactly right there. And of course, I placed my stop loss at this high. But this here is I can clearly see that on this high there is no any inducement, so this means that the stop loss is not safe at that area, but it will be safe somewhere, let's say there or somewhere there, so that it can give the room for the sweep of this major inducement. And then now, yep, we can now target that, yeah, the same way. Or you can actually wait for price to do that on the 3 minutes. Yeah, you can wait for price to come all the way, sweep these 3 minutes, and then you can now take your entry. Of course, that will give you an insane risk to reward. And anyway, I'm not doing that. I'm just, yeah, I want the execution to be on the 15 minutes. So yeah, I just want the execution to be on the 15 minutes. And of course, this one here is just the, yeah, you can place your TP at 1:3. 1:3 is a good risk to reward. And yeah, you can extend it further to this low if you want to capture the full profit. So exactly right there, that's my analysis, that's my entry. But I'm not like placing this is not like a high probability one, because the H4 structure does not align with the M15. We are just doing this because the weekly is actually bearish, and also we know that the weekly and the H4, the weekly holds more weight because it is the higher time frame. But anyway, let's see what price will do upcoming Monday. Price may decide to fail this entry and just follow the H4 structure, of course, and continue bearish, continue bullish all the way, breaking past this high. Okay guys, so that's my analysis on USDJPY. So yeah, let's wait Monday and see how price unfolds.